How's it going, guys? Hola, Russell. Thanks for the hi already. We got 4 people here already. That's great. Glad to see you. Again, make sure you're looking up. We haven't changed the we do have a pretty different setup behind us here. So, thanks to Austin, who is our new employee here at First Music. Young, bright kid, bright future ahead of him. Super nice guy, super helpful. So if you come in and you get a chance to see him and say hi to him, meet him, definitely do so. So a couple things we got to take care of some housekeeping. If you haven't been in the store lately, lots has changed, tons and tons. Especially in the drum room, definitely go check that out. The Vinyl Rep was here earlier this week. Give us a new display. We're getting some really cool stuff coming in soon. Some Vinyl Cajones, Vinyl Cajon, played Cajones before. You're definitely missing out. I think Vinyl does have the best Cajon. I'm not just saying that because I represent that brand. I'm saying that because that's how I feel, and that's how some of the closest drummers that play Cajones that I know feel as well. So, anywho, with that going on, we're also getting some cool percussion stuff. Vinyl sticks are coming in. Oh, we still got the music going on? You didn't pause it though, bud. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I'm not sure how that kept playing when we quieted it down. Can you guys hear me now? So, hey, speaking of Austin, what? Oh, there we go. We're backwards. Thanks for sharing the stream, buddy. If everybody could share the stream, that would be amazing. By the way, absolutely amazing. Anyway, so yeah, lots going on. Austin's been a huge help. You see how clean and reorganized the behind me is. The whole store's that way right now. It's been great. We got new products coming in. And Monday, we got a bunch of new stuff coming in as well. So it should be very, very exciting. The studio's been going great. We've had a few people come in and record since then. That's been a blast. Some original music, which is always great to hear around here. We even had people from the Chicago area come up and record here a few weeks ago. Lots and lots of fun. Really talented kid. That was a blast. Not sure if he's going to be on here watching it all, but that was a lot of fun too. So, yeah, a lot going on. And it's been a couple weeks since I streamed. I ended up selling my house and moving, and then just a whole bunch of stuff going on. So, good news is we're back on schedule again. We're back streaming again, and we got a lot of cool stuff to touch. Tonight, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I was planning on just doing like a normal everyday restring to show you what you get when you bring your guitar to Traverse Music for a restring. That just seemed way too boring, and I didn't feel like doing that. So I actually ended up pulling out an old 1982 SG that I've had sitting in the back of a closet for a while, that several people have used and abused. I have no idea if we can save it. This is entirely an experiment. I honestly don't know how this is going to go, but it should be fun. But if we want to go ahead and take a look here at the guitar, if you watched a couple of the streams in the past, you might see the guitar, or you might recognize the guitar from seeing it back then. She's seen better days. I mean, somebody who glued these parts in, you can't really see that right here. I mean, these are like sticking out of the body and stuff like that. This is all stuff we're going to have to do. But the biggest thing right now that I'm really concerned about is this neck. I don't know if you can tell how gross it is from the camera. It is quite gross. And this is cleaned. So, this is the neck cleaned. She's seen much better days. I mean, at one point somebody had covered this in deck paint. It's rough. So right now we have the guitar set up with just a little bit of tension on the neck. So there's just this ever so slight bow here. And what I'm going to try to do with this guitar, because of how terrible the condition of the fretboard is, those lines you were seeing next to the frets are actually like divoted in. It's eating away the wood. What I'd like to do, there's a huge chunk of fret missing here. What I would like to do is actually try to pull these frets. We'll see if we can do that successfully. Remove this nut, and then we're going to replane this fretboard using a 12-inch radius block. Just a StewMac radius block. I don't know if the guitar is originally 12 inches or not. I just think 12 inches on an SG is kind of the sweet spot, so that's what I'm putting it at. I'm going to go into this with no expectations. Hopefully this is fun. If you guys got questions, feel free to shoot them out, shout them out. Just another heads up too, we'll go back to the face cam. I do want to show off some of the merch I'm wearing here with the Traverse Music shirt and the Traverse Music hat. These are on the merch store. If you check out the links below here, you can find how to donate to the page. Donations go a long, long way. Hugely, hugely helpful. I would love to be able to get to a point where we can take some old beat up guitars too on the stream, fix those up, take them over to Boys and Girls Club. I do have one sitting here waiting for that, which will be part of a stream later, at a later date. And I plan on using some of the money for that to go Facebook searching for those things. Another thing that the donations and the merch money go to is microphones and cameras and other things like that. So if you've never streamed before, it's a huge pain in the butt setup, and you know, getting high quality cameras is a lot more expensive than I was hoping it was going to be. So we have decent cameras right now, but I'd love to blow that up and get some mobile cameras where we can move around the store. We can go and do product demos and actually physically move while we're streaming. That would be fantastic. So, all right, so enough with that stuff. Back to the guitar. There are a lot of theories on pulling frets. There are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of videos on pulling frets. A lot of people tend to take a soldering iron with a big fat tip on it and they heat the fret up before they pull it. And a lot of times it's usually because there's glue down there to pull the frets out with. I really do not see that making any sort of difference. This fretboard's either going to be awful or it's going to work with us. I don't think the expansion with the heat is going to help at all. Have I used heat in the past? Yes, I have, but most of the time I'm quite successful just using the proper tools, which is this fret puller. Along with fret pullers, especially from StewMac, you can also get these sleeves that you use that go over the fret and actually kind of tuck around the edges of the fret, right up next to the tang. If you don't know what the tang is, I'll show you when I pull the first fret. And those are supposed to help keep the wood down also. I've had good luck with those when we are pulling a lot of frets, but I've never needed to use them more than a couple times per... Sorry about that. Per guitar neck. So if we come to that, we'll go ahead and find those and pull those out. I don't even know where they are right now, so that'll be a lot of fun. So again, this tool is a fret puller. All right, this is StewMac, Japanese made, like a lot of StewMac's high-end tools. And the biggest thing here is you can see this flat tip that will hopefully grab and pull that fret out gently. So the whole point is to get underneath the fret here. Try to do this at a good angle where we can get under the fret with the puller and just wiggle it, get those teeth underneath it, and pull the fret out slowly and across the fretboard. So I'm going to start this over here. You're not going to be able to probably see everything that I'm doing because I do have to sit at different angles, but I'm going to try to pay attention as much as I can to the camera and see what you can see on the first view. But let's just go ahead and do this and try to dig in here. So, well, that's coming out pretty darn easy. There's definitely not any glue in there. Oof. All right. That's a pretty old worn fret. So the tang I had mentioned is going to be the long thin piece that goes into the fretboard. So your fret, you see this, the tang is underneath. That tang is what we're pinching, getting underneath the fret top to pull that out. We did a little, I don't know, there's some chip in there. I don't think we did anything that bad. I'll try to zoom this in too for you. That could have been way worse with how old this guitar is. So I think that brings some hope. Let's keep going. So, has anybody out there got any projects going on themselves? I know Russ is here. I know he had a project going on with a pretty unique guitar. You just did a full fret level crown and polish on a first act mini Flying G, if I recall correctly. I always love hearing about customer projects. It's always a blast. I think sometimes people get nervous when they come to me asking me about their own projects because they're like, oh, you're probably mad that I'm not bringing this to you, but I'm doing this now. And the reality of it is that I'm not upset if you want to try something on your own. I'm all game for this. I wouldn't be showing you how to do this if that was going to bother me. So I'm always here for questions and stuff like that. It makes noise tonight. Haha, you put the new pickup in there. Awesome. I don't get mad about that stuff at all. I love when other people are able to start experiencing working on guitars and things like that. So ooh. Well, these aren't coming out too bad. So I'm just gonna keep going on this. Did a bridge replacement. What type of bass is that, Alec? Was it a bridge replacement from necessity, or was it like an upgrade, or you just wanted something different? Was it for funsies? Yeah, we use the word funsies.
You do.
Yes. Me and both our wives. Yes, I said both my wives.
Mm-hmm.
I've been as SR 375. Very cool. We had a super weird situation with a bass this week come in, where the guy brought his bass here for a setup. Old one just looked bad. Oh man, I hear ya. There's some pretty gnarly, cool looking bass bridges out there too. Badass bridges make some really, really great ones too. So, no, we had a guy who had a Fender bass. He came in and we set it up for him and the thing was playing like butter. And then he came in a week later. He's like, yeah, this thing's just buzzing everywhere. And, we're looking at it and I look down the neck's still nice and straight. I'm like, man, what's going on with this? And we look down at the saddles and the saddles are all bottomed out. I'm like, there's no way we bottomed out these saddles when we set this thing up. Like, that's just crazy. And then I started messing with the screws in the saddles and the screws for the saddles were so loose. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. You could turn it with just the most ease ever. You can imagine with the tension of the strings and everything, turning one of those tiny little screws with a tiny little Allen key would not be very easy. You could just take your fingertips and with just barely any pressure at all, you could turn those screws. So the vibration was actually kicking the screws completely loose because they were so loose in the saddles. So Austin ended up pulling the bass back here and throwing in some saddles off a used old PV we had here for their gig tomorrow night. So the guy's got his bass back and playable for a while, but we're going to order him some new saddles. Possibly a whole new bridge. He'll have to decide on that, but bridge replacements are fun. Was it a perfect fit, Alec? Like, did you have to do any drilling? Did you have to fill any holes, or was it one of those? Luckily, all the holes lined up, and you're able to just remove screws, put screws back on. So, also, one thing about my streaming program, I really like it a lot because it does combine do I ever make my own bridges? I have had one pretty much a perfect fit. That's awesome. Good way to go. Hello, Stress Master. I have had one bridge that I did not personally make. I am not like a metal worker at all, but I do have a guy that does that stuff, and he did make a bridge for me. So I've never had my own made besides that one exception, and that was for a base 6 build. Because we just weren't getting the coverage over the pickups that we liked with any other bridge we found. And that was a pretty unique experience. I would definitely do it again. I think I have a bridge design in mind that I do want to make. And it's a cool idea to me, at least, and I would really love to get that, but I'm kind of looking for the right people that could help me design that. I get the math and stuff behind it. I have no idea, like, the durability or stability of bending the metal in certain ways. But I do have a bridge that I did design myself, which is a sort of wraparound, but also it's routed out into the body, so it drops down nice and low. Also, it is at an angle, so when you feed the strings in, you're feeding them through the body opening where the bridge is. Really hard to explain without kind of showing. So, the bridge we made was a metal bridge. Yeah, I've never made any wood bridges. I mean, I've made a wood bridge. No, I've reshaped a lot of wood bridges for acoustic guitars, but I've never, like, made one out of wood. As far as that goes, I think that would be pretty easy. I have all the tools to be able to do that. So, hey Barry, what's going on, man? So it looks like we have like 8 viewers, and I was going to say about my streaming thing. It's fantastic. It shows me the streams from both platforms I'm streaming to. So right now I'm streaming to Facebook and YouTube, but I don't know who's all here. So if you haven't said hi yet, please just say hi, give us a wave. Give us a like, give us a share if you can. If you haven't liked us on Facebook and YouTube, if you don't mind doing that stuff, that would be awesome. But yeah, I mean, all the shares go a long way. So, one thing that is making this... Hey, Matt! Look at it tomorrow. So, oh, now I know who Stress Master is. So, Matt, I do have your shims and your guitar for you. So, when you're able to swing in. And I think... Happy birthday to your wife, if I saw that correctly on Facebook. I think, so... Something that's making these frets very difficult up here is when somebody else had this guitar and they were finishing it, they actually finished the fretboard and stuff. And you'll probably see when I pick up the guitar more and show you more of the neck, there's actually like the red deck stain and paint and stuff they were using on the top of the fretboard, also even on the sides, like covering up the side dots and stuff. It was weird. I have never seen anything like that, so... Cool, right on, Matt. I'll be here all day, so. Yes, it does have the natural scalloping. Oh my goodness. You noticed that too, huh? So that's actually something I'm a little concerned about also, because there's not a lot of fretboard left. These SGs didn't have thick fretboards to begin with, so they're pretty thin, and I need to take off quite a bit to replane this thing. Actually, I even have some 120... Yeah, for sure. Doing that's terrible. I actually have some 120 grit sandpaper, which I never ever use on fretboards sitting here too, because I just am assuming that's going to be how much we need to end up taking off. So there's times for poly on frets, or on fretboards, but it's certainly not on this fretboard. That's more on the maple fretboards. Even then, those are probably easier to work with than this. And this one's tough. Ooh. So, I know, Fist and Air, you've removed quite a few frets in your day, if I remember correctly. I remember asking him, I had a friend, could I use wood putty epoxy to build it up? No, not really. If I were to do anything at that point, I would actually pull the whole fretboard off, replane the neck, and put a new fretboard on. So tonight we are going to remove all these frets on this SG as violently as possible. No, as delicately as we can. And then we are going to replane this fretboard and try to bring it to a 12-inch radius and get rid of all these natural scallops, as Fist and Air likes to call them, as well as all this DNA and all this deck goo and poly all over the place and lacquer everywhere. It's just, yeah, it's a disaster. I'm not gonna exaggerate when I say this. This is probably the worst fretboard I've ever tried to fix this up. This is my SG, and when I say this is my SG, I mean this is an SG that I took on trade for a handgun. So, this is like, honestly, it's just a guitar that I was like, aw, that poor thing. Like people do with puppies. So I brought it in from the rain, and now I'm going to take care of it and try to nurse it back to health. And if I can't, we'll just take her into the vet and put her down nicely and never speak of her again. You don't like that reference?
You're bad, man.
Well, you win some, you lose some, and then you lose more, and then you lose more.
Yes.
That's a fun trade, LOL. Well, it was a terrible gun. Okay, it was a gun my buddy Greg sold to me, and I really thought that I could turn it into a gun that I liked. Oh. And even like dropping the trigger pull, everything about it was awful. It was just bad.
I think Greg's on the chat.
Yes, your old handgun. I told you about this when it happened, Greg.
Did that one get swiped?
Hmm?
Was that the one that got stolen?
Oh, I remember that too. Yeah, when I moved to Menasha.
Yeah. Not trying to give away all the secrets or anything, but.
Yeah, so when I moved to Menasha, somebody stole a handgun out of my car. Yes. Yes, it was absolute garbage. But you know what? The price was fair. I did shoot it quite a few times before I ended up getting rid of it. All right, so here we go. This is what we got to deal with. Let's bring this up. So if you see on the edge here, this is not like fretboard. This is actually like somebody's finished product on this. All this is like lacquer or deck paint or something. And then if we look at the top here, you can actually see the red on the side dots, all that stuff. So yeah, it is actually a Gibson. Yes.
When you say deck paint, do you mean like?
I mean like they went to Lowe's.
Okay. I
And
didn't
like,
know if there was a special guitar
no,
term
like
that I
straight
didn't
up
know.
bought like deck paint.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, so you could probably wipe your shoes off on it and it'll be fine. Yeah, it's just awful. It's probably not a murder weapon, Craig.
Yikes.
I think it's poly. I don't think it's it's poly. I'm 90% sure it's poly. So all these are pretty rough. So what I'm going to do now with all these fret slots is I'm going to take this fine, thin diamond file. It's definitely not diamond. It's Harbor Freight. So it's funny. I always tell people never buy anything from Harbor Freight and work on them with guitars. This is the exception. This and this. Brushes and these garbage files, because it doesn't matter how much you spend on them, they're always garbage and they always suck. I mean, I've bought ones for $180 and they've just been terrible. So what we're going to do here is, before I take a big old radius block and just start cranking away on this thing, we're going to go ahead and try to file down all these grooves, because they all stick up quite a bit, just so it's a little smoother, so that we don't catch with the sandpaper anything and just start ripping up chunks of fretboard. The other thing we're going to do is remove this nut so that we can go all the way off the fretboard with it as well. So I'm just going to try to bring this camera in a little more here. So maybe I'll just bring the guitar closer. Does that work better? Let's do that. Thanks for sharing, Greg. And if anybody's wondering, that's pronounced Desher. It's pronounced Desher.
Disher.
Disher.
Disher. As in do the dishes. Disher.
Sorry, just trying to get in this neck cowl nice and easy. So well, I'll go to my curved one.
Someone inquired, have you ever tried a water knife sharpening stone to flatten it?
A water knife sharpening stone to flatten the fretboard?
I read the question as asked.
Are you talking about the fretboard? So, as far as grit goes, I have a lot of stuff that goes above 10,000 grit that I use, especially when it comes to frets. I use a lot of different micro meshes, and I even have... Yes, no, I've never used a knife sharpening stone on wood, ever. I have some very nice expensive ones, but I've never used them on wood. I always use them on my chisels and like my gouges and stuff like that. The other reason why I wouldn't want to use a stone on it is because I actually don't want the whole fretboard flat. I just want this tiny little section to go down a little. Because we're gonna radiate it, or we're gonna put a radius on this fretboard.
Did you explain to everybody what you're doing right now and I just didn't hear it?
Yeah, I think so. I could re-explain.
Cool. I'm just making sure.
But yeah, we're bringing these fret areas down to level with the fretboard, so that when we do start planing with the sandpaper, we're not ripping out huge chunks of fretboard from these sticking up terribly. You're just too into your computer right now.
It's true. I'm just trying to bring more of your knowledge out and help you. That's all.
Wow, I'm telling you, there's not a lot to bring out, so let it come out in small doses. It'll last longer. We're sippers, we're not shot takers.
Yeah. Speaking of which, who's our booze sponsor for tonight?
We don't have one tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
no
yeah.
booze sponsor.
No booze tonight.
Why do we even do this stream?
Wouldn't that be something to get a booze sponsor for a guitar stream?
It would be. It would be
Basses and
something.
booze.
Ooh, there's a good name.
Yeah, but then I have to work on basses all the time, and I only like to work on basses a little bit at a time. Honestly, it's just because there's not a lot of bass players out there that ever work on their stuff.
I feel like you're taking shots at bass players now.
No, it's because Fistinaire is here, and he does all of his own work. He doesn't bring it to me.
Wow.
Heck, I've even hired him to do some of my work.
That's just capitalism. You're outsourcing, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So again, if you guys haven't noticed, we do have a few more streams up on YouTube and Facebook. In our very first stream, we designed a guitar. We're calling it the community build right now. We don't have an actual name for it. That guitar is going to be brought up in another stream here very soon, because I have the headstock finished, I have the other horn we couldn't figure out what to do with during that stream finished, and I'm going to cut it out and get a mold going. I'm going to give that to my dear friend Russ, if he's willing to, and give him some beautiful curly flamed maple stuff. It's like curly spalted, it really is what it is. I don't know why flamed came out. See if he wants to put it in his cool vise that he made. Get some pieces glued together, and I think it's going to be a very, very cool looking guitar. So I'm actually not on Twitch right now. I'm only on Facebook and YouTube. So most of my following is Facebook, and I'm trying to also go into the YouTube world, so I haven't done anything on Twitch at all. So, wow, all that's finished. All of that. Just chipping off of there. Gross. This poor guitar. Man, some people's parents, I tell ya. I guess I'm kind of at that age where it's some people's kids again, huh?
Yeah, right. Whippersnappers and whatnot.
Greg. Thanks, Greg. Always keeping it real, huh, bud? So, hey, friend.
Yes.
Can you hand me one of those paintbrushes over there?
Sure.
The tough brush.
There you
Oh,
go.
thanks, friend.
You're welcome.
I'm not your friend, guy.
That's not very nice.
Ooh. All right. We have that going on. So this is where we're at. It's pretty smooth here. This is acceptable in my opinion. I do need to find friend. Got some sandpaper here. I know I brought 120 over. I'm going to start with a 220. Hope that's enough. Other than sanding, how can I safely remove the poly? So because it is on the fretboard, the best real way to remove poly on the fretboard is us sanding this. If we had poly we had to remove on the body and stuff, we're stripping the body down, we can use strippers and things like that. For the most part, using a plastic putty knife, not the metal ones. Usually you can strip away with industrial strippers or sanding it away, or even I've seen people go as far as using like drum sanders and stuff like that. So let's see if we can get some of that pretty...
How does an industrial stripper differ from a regular one?
I'm saying industrial strength stripping compound stuff. I know. Greg's here for that, though.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we have Greg.
Okay.
We have Greg. Big sandpaper. So, if you want to see how bad this radius is... Oh, let's remove the nut first, huh? Huh? Alright, if you've never removed a nut from a Gibson guitar, it's not fun. I don't care about this one that much, so what I'm going to do is just put this block here, I'm going to tap it with a hammer, and hope it comes loose. It's usually much, much harder than that. That was... Oh, it's a plastic nut, that's why. That was incredibly simple. Okay, so, if we want to see how bad... I have a 12-inch radius block, and if you know what radius is, that's pretty flat. But this guitar is so bad, you can see where it's hitting and where it's not hitting right now.
Wow.
So it's actually all that finish that's all on the sides of the fretboards, that sand block is hitting, and it's not even touching the middle of the fretboard yet. So we also have to look down it to see. That's right, so I need to take off more in the middle. This neck's not entirely straight, so while I plane this neck, I'm also going to be trying to plane it and make it a straight neck again by taking off more wood in other places. So we got a bit of a bow here without the truss rod being like tight whatsoever. So I'm hoping to take a little more off, get the truss rod a little tighter so that it is a little bowed with the truss rod actually tightened up. So I think we're ready to get off this cowl and go to one of these bad boys. And I don't know why I'm afraid of this 100. Well, let's go ahead and use that. Ah, ripping. The poor man's scissors. So this is 100 grit. I'm barely going to apply anything for pressure. So I'm going to use this 100 to get at least where we're starting to touch the middle of the fretboard, which is right where we're at right now. We're finally starting to touch the middle of that fretboard. Yeah. We got quite a ways to go on this bad boy though, so. Is this sanding too loud? You guys let me know if we want to mute the chat or mute the mic for a few minutes and then put some music on and I'll try to sand this quickly. You guys let me know. Somewhere. We're getting somewhere. What's up, Charlie? Haven't heard from you in a while, man. Hope all is well. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for stopping by. Don't worry, the wax on, wax off part is coming. A big thing about this dust, don't go flinging it around. It's not great for you. Like when I go home, I'm actually going to use one of those Navage things and flush out my nostrils. And you'll see that I'm being really gentle when I'm pushing this around because I don't want it flying up in the air. Another thing too is I'm going to save... You see all the dust on the front rest right there, or on the neck rest right there. I'm actually going to save all that too, because there seems to be a few spots in this neck where it could really use some extra wood. So I'm going to use that extra dust to fill in patches if it's too low, if I can't make the rest of it look great. So that's just an old luthier trick. Like if you had a chip from pulling this nut out and you need to fill that chip, and you can use that dust. Red Label Tight Bond. So is that Tight Bond 2? Nope, Red Label's the original. Good deal. I use original. I think original's better. After gluing a bridge on, I think you want to wait 24 to 48 hours. Honestly, whatever it says on the bottle should be good. I use a lot of different stuff, so it's hard for me to remember all the time. I think it's at 24 to 48 hours before you can really start stressing that again. Oh, there's a really pretty fretboard under here. Oh, yes. Oh, this is going to look great. Oh, I'm very excited. What a find. I don't know if you can see it in the stream yet. Oh my goodness. The grain. Look at the grain starting to come through. There's actually wood under this. This thing was pure black. I thought it was actually like an ebony fretboard. It's beautiful. Hopefully that picks up on camera as nice as it is here. Guys, give me 1 second.
Are those dots mother of pearl?
I don't think so. This was the Artist Series Gibson. So, do you have a mask on you? Okay. You might want to put it on. It's starting to get kind of...
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I just got to throw a mask on here. This dust is getting kind of worse than I thought. Should have known it was going to take a lot on. Do you have something that just covers everything up?
Huh. No comment.
We'll stand for a while, too.
Should we change the face cam so people can see you?
No. Can you, there's some like mineral spirits or something around here. Naphtha maybe? I'd love to get this grain wet and see what it looks like. Should be in a metal can.
Like it will work.
Huh?
I
No.
can't just use it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Unless you don't want to.
No.
I don't know, I'm looking now.
Oh, it's hiding behind the middle portion of that in the cabinet right there. Right.
Ah, here.
There we go. Fantastic. I don't like the whole face shield. I just want something keeping the dust out of my nose and mouth, especially while I'm talking on stream. Even when I'm like spraying finishes and stuff, I usually don't put a face shield on, just because it takes away sight so much for me. So I got this VM&P naphtha, so we can see this fretboard. There's actually grain in there. Still a little tough to see on the camera, isn't it? Put the mic in there, yeah. So we could see that start to dry. There, we start to see the grain get exposed. So we got streaking grain all through here. All right. Wow, we've been at this for 52 minutes already. My goodness. So, we have a ways to go yet on this. Neck is getting much straighter though. Quite a ways to go. We're gonna keep this up for a few more minutes. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, this is probably going to be at least another half hour of sanding, and I'm not going to sit here and just sand for the next half hour. So, if you guys got questions, shoot them in. Check out the merch store. At least let me know that you checked it out. That would be awesome. If you guys could also give a like and a share for the streams, that would be amazing. It really does go a long way. We're hoping that this stream will help take care of a lot of things. And thank you for the follow. And we're hoping the stream can catch on and we can get the stuff we need to actually start streaming in the recording studio and stuff like that too. Should be really, really cool. So... Is there a die kit for guitar repair? I don't know what you mean by a die kit for guitar repair. I'm sorry. We are likely going to have to fill a lot of these in. Showing more and more. There's a lot of DNA on this thing. Thanks, Russ, man. Take it easy. We'll see you soon, hopefully. Okay, so dash for adding CA glue or lacquer. Okay, so there are CA glues out there that are colored. Adding different dyes and things to CA glue is not fun and dangerous and kind of tough. But food coloring, acetone, and CA tend to go together really well. Which is just an old trick. So if you got something that like a CA doesn't come in, like CAs come in like amber, black, white, you know, pretty generic colors, but you got like this weird blue guitar or like a bright red guitar where you don't have a CA with that bright red. I have used in the past CA with some acetone in there to thin it out, and then food coloring in there. And the acetone allows the CA not to react with the food coloring so quickly that you can still drip it onto the spots. But that is like chips, not big cracks and things like that. So getting back into this fretboard real quick while we're still under the hour mark. You can see here there's still spots that have big divots. I think those are going to end up getting filled with CA. If we go all the way down how deep these divots down here are, we're just going to keep sanding for forever. We're not going to have any fretboard left. I do plan on sanding for a little longer, so I will keep doing that. But all that we have to do right now is sand, and I'm not going to make you guys stick around for that. But I greatly, greatly appreciate everybody coming by. We'll switch over to the face cam. There we go. So, thank you guys so much for coming in, stopping by. This is super fun for me. I love doing this. I love showing people how this stuff works. Getting dirty. It's way more fun than me sitting back here by myself listening to a podcast or something. So, again, I greatly appreciate you guys coming by. If you haven't liked the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, please give those likes. If you haven't stopped by yet, I know a couple of you out there haven't been able to swing by the store yet. I understand there's COVID and all that stuff going on. You know, when I see you, I'm very excited to meet you. If you can support us with all those likes, the merch, the donations and all that stuff, that goes a long way. Again, I was talking a little bit about the studio. I touched base on it. We have a studio that we built back here next to the shop as well. It's a recording studio. It's also a practice studio, but we're actually going to try to start doing like live band concerts back there, streaming it live, mixing it through our 22 MTK by Soundcraft, and putting lights back there, doing a light show, all sorts of fun, cool stuff. We don't have the cameras for that right now. So the donations, the merch purchases, all that stuff goes towards that so we can start doing live concerts and things like that. It will be a blast. The few donations and merch sales we got already has already bought us a new microphone. So if you go to that first, the very first stream we had and you listen to the sound quality and then you go to these last couple, huge difference. So I was using like a crazy expensive mic from the studio. I'm not doing that anymore. I've now switched to a regular condenser mic that I'm using just for this. It's fantastic. It sounds really great. I don't know. You guys let me know if it's bad. My sound checks went well though. So thanks again, everybody. Hope to see you guys soon, and you guys take care.